Welcome back to the Eye of Us podcast, where in this episode, two content creators discuss the random, interesting topics of life. Today, I want to start off with a kind of odd question, which is whether or not you believe schools are proportionately promoting the college life route as opposed to others such as entrepreneurship, trades, and stuff like that. So I'll let you start off with your answer.
To be honest, I think it's great how schools are pushing us to further our education by going to college, but most of us don't know that we have other opportunities in life but college, because that's all we know, because that's all we're taught growing up. But I think schools should start giving kids more opportunities to further what they want to do and not what is best for them.
Alright. So, I mean, when you think about it, we are in different times, obviously, as we were even just 30 years ago, with the technology surge and innovation going on, the innovative world we live in. It seems like I think they should at least start to mention these other topics. Like, I understand that a good chunk of students will still go to college, obviously, and they should be prepared for that. But at the same time, we should offer understanding of going into trades, going into entrepreneurship, which is like starting your own business, and just figuring out and helping kids understand that these are routes and understanding what they are, so that they, as soon to be going into the real world, have enough knowledge to go into that world.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like for me, honestly, I think I may go to college, though my job I wouldn't necessarily require it. I still feel like it would be good because it'll help me develop skills like social skills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That I'll build on that.
Yeah. Yeah, for me too, really what I'm choosing to do doesn't require going to college, but again, building those social skills and learning to interact with others, because that's all you're really going to be doing. Not for everybody necessarily, unless you're going to be like in an independent business such as an entrepreneur. But it really is good to build those aspects, because it's going to stick with you for the rest of your life, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, with the entrepreneur route, though, so obviously students, I think they should have classes, which I believe most schools do, for those more entrepreneur spirited, I should say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of students will still need to develop those skills. So it's either on their time or still at college, even if it's like, I think associates is 2 years, just going there and getting that.
Yeah.
And like some business analytics and business management, just so you get a better grasp of what you want to do. But it really depends on what industry you plan on going into.
Yeah, and I think as we develop more and more over the years, I think they should, I know they already make some schools for certain jobs, but I think they should build more on that part of it instead of just focusing on normal college.
Yeah, because I mean, you have trade schools, you have research universities.
Technology.
Yeah, technology, STEM.
Yeah.
Culinary even.
Yeah, exactly.
There's what was I thinking? I had something. Shoot. Yeah, okay, here it is. So, and a lot of times people will be like, well, many people have been successful even if they were a college dropout or a school dropout. And yes, that is true. There are some very rich people who dropped out of some grade school. Like, I believe Bill Gates. This is what happened with Bill Gates. So, he was big in high school because he developed something for his school, and so I think he started to attend Harvard, but then when he started Microsoft and stuff like that, it was eventually going pretty well, and I'm pretty sure he made a deal with Harvard, and pretty much it was, I'm gonna go do my business and stuff like that, and I'm gonna leave, they'll be fine, but if it fails and everything, I'm allowed to come back and stuff like that with no punishment. And I think that's pretty cool, but also at the same point, so you have these famous people. Yes, they become successful even if they were dropouts. But I think you should look at the proportion of that, because obviously not everyone's a Bill Gates or I'm trying to think of all the others, but there's tons of them. But
not even just like people that have gone into like technology and stuff. Like there's many celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio, Johnny Depp, Robert Downey, a lot of well-known actors that have dropped out and still are making a great living.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of the thing though. So it's kind of showing that yes, you don't need to go to college to get a very good paying job, as these people are proving. But at the same time, we must understand that it's really a boost to help your chances of getting into those jobs and careers that pay very well.
Yeah.
And also we got to acknowledge that it's not always just about pay. It's pay for something you are interested in and enjoy doing. Because if you get paid well, but it's a miserable job, you're still miserable.
Yeah, no, it really just comes down to happiness. You could be the richest person in the world, like Jeff Bezos. I doubt he still has reached his full potential of being happy, even though, because obviously you would think, oh, they are living their best life, they're probably the happiest they've ever been, but really no, like it's really just comes down to what you want to do. Like if you are enjoying what you're doing, then probably switch to another job. Like, yeah,
honestly, if you enjoy flipping burgers, go right ahead. There's tons still for that in the world.
And who knows, maybe as you're flipping burgers, I want to be a manager, and then you'll become manager of McDonald's or Burger King.
Yeah, you always have to you want to focus on what you enjoy. And also on the note of Jeff Bezos, I believe, so I heard that he's stepping down as CEO. I think he's remaining a chair, though, on the board.
Oh, yeah. I saw something.
And I think what that is so that he can focus on his space company. And I think he might be going into philanthropies, which I really like that. There's some people like Bill Gates. His is one of the largest. He got super rich off of Microsoft. And now he's into philanthropies and trying to help make the world a better place. Now, I know that's a controversial topic. He's some of the stuff he does, but honestly, he's trying to help make the world a better place.
Exactly. No, and I think that's great how they're not just focusing on what they're good at and trying, not necessarily focusing on their weaknesses, but just trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Because they're all settled, like they're fine. So now they're focusing on trying to help other people be good.
Yeah, and a lot of these super rich people like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, they've signed a pledge to like give away so much of their wealth before they die, and then they had some way of giving it out when they do die.
Yeah. And I think that's great because, I mean, what else are you going to do with that money? And it's not, like, you could give it to your kids, but...
I'm trying to remember who it was now. There was some celebrity I was watching a video, so it was on one of those, like, inspirational videos, and it's pretty much like, they're like, when I die, I'm only giving $1 million to each one of my children, because I don't want them to be spoiled. I want them to still have to work for their money.
Let me see.
I just think that's an interesting idea because that's a whole nother level. Like, yes, you got successful and stuff like that, but then they're passing on to their children. You may not, just because you're related to me doesn't mean you're going to be automatically successful in life.
Oh, it's...
But I'm going to help you out.
Yeah. It was Larry King, I'm pretty sure.
Larry King?
Right? Oh, no, he's gonna leave his, fortune, whatever that is. Maybe George Clooney, was it?
I don't know, but also Larry King passed away a few weeks ago.
He did?
Hey, wait, you didn't hear that?
No.
He passed away a few weeks ago.
What?
It was really sad, but I mean...
No, I don't remember hearing about it.
He was awesome. He was one of the best talk show hosts and interviewers in all of history.
That's sad. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know why, but like the first thing when I think of Larry King is not like his show and stuff like that, but it's from the B Movie. You remember that scene how Barry Benson, Jerry Seinfeld talking to him, And just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, in the human world, they have a guy just like you, and they just start describing everything about him.
That was funny.
That was great.
Oh, so speaking of flipping burgers, I got Burger King today. Tried the new Sourdough King.
Sourdough King? So it's the normal burger on sourdough, I'm guessing?
Exactly. It's like 2 burgers with bacon and stuff. Just normal burger, double cheeseburger, but just on sourdough. Because it just sounded really good, but it was okay.
All right.
Just thought I'd share that.
I did. They also, speaking of Burger King, I heard that they brought back their regular cheesy tots.
Oh,
those
really?
are good. Yeah, those are awesome.
Are they just like cheese inside tater tots?
Yeah, essentially, it's a cheesy potato wad. I kind of trying to think of what the shape could be described as.
Like a.
It's in a nugget shape, I should say, kind of like that.
Okay.
Very well rounded, kind of cylindrical, bulging sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
No, that sounds kind of good.
They are really good.
Did you see the thing about that? How there's a black hole that like was lab grown, and I guess it behaves just how Stephen Hawking said it would. Like they were testing it out, and I guess it was everything that Stephen Hawking said it would be like.
I don't think I've heard about that, but that's actually kind of cool. I'm gonna have to look into that at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't even looked at too much of what Stephen Hawking ever predicted, but I think I've heard some of his ideas.
Yeah, no, he had a lot of theories. I guess, 1974. So it wasn't that long ago, but there's some smart people in this world.
See, I like how they have that, though. So you have physicists, but then you have theoretical physicists. They're just thinking of what possibly could happen and then testing it.
Yeah.
Which I believe, like Big Bang Theory, I think that's kind of what they were. I think that's what Leonard was. He was a theoretical physicist. No, that was Sheldon. Sheldon was theoretical.
Because then didn't they make young Sheldon, and then he was pretty smart.
Yeah, he's just kind of that prodigy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always find it interesting. Some of these shows, I like their concepts. Just they took something that already existed, was huge, and then they really tried to put a story behind it almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Star Wars. You had those 3 movies come out, but then they made the prequels, and it was like, all right, we're going to go back to here, tell you a little bit more, then we'll go to the future.
Yeah. No, because I think they wanted to move forward, but then they realized that some of the parts were necessary to be added into there, so...
Yeah.
But...
So now, I want to give a little bit of perspective on a quote. And this one comes from Barnyard of the movie, a fantastic movie in my opinion. And it comes from the character of Ben the Cow. So, this is Otis's father. Pretty cool. He dies relatively early on in the movie, and that kind of is a very strong plot point. And so the quote is, "A strong man stands up for himself. A stronger man stands up for others." What's your take on it?
See, I personally think that is a really powerful quote, because some people are only willing to just care about themselves, but to be the bigger person and care for someone else takes a lot of courage, and there's not many people like that in the world, and you're a good person for doing that, for stepping up and being the big man.
Yeah, so this regards all people, and essentially, so let's put it in perspective. So you're seeing people fighting or something like that.
Yeah.
You would stand up for yourself. So if you're in that argument, you would be like, okay, I'm going to argue with you, or you back away.
Yeah.
And you try to stand your ground. But if you see someone else in there, you try to split things up. You try to help others. It's called not being a bystander, but being an upstander.
Yeah. You don't want
just up for what is right.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be... I don't know if it falls along the lines of being a follower, you don't want to I don't know how to
Be a leader, not a follower.
yeah, I guess.
But I mean, also at the same time, the greatest leaders are also the best followers. Because you listen more than you speak, and so kind of the follower is typically seen as the listener. But that's why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You listen more than you speak.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of just putting that into perspective with that.
Yeah, no, I get that now.
So going back to what we were discussing before with education, now I want your take on this, and this is, what do you think, I should say, that the utilization of technology in the classroom benefits the learner or student?
See, that's a pretty interesting topic to talk about. I think everybody's different when it comes to learning and how you learn. But I mean, everybody that didn't have technology seems to be pretty successful today. There hasn't been any failures with technology, so I really think we need to spend more time with technology to really understand how it's going to affect our future. But I think it's definitely easier to get things done than it would be, say, doing it on paper. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much we can like learn from technology yet because it's still in the very early stages.
Yeah, and I mean, my take on it is this, and that is, so technology, it's good if used properly, because obviously you have access to the internet. That pretty much gives you all the answers. And obviously kids can misuse their technology, but obviously, so let's just even leave it at they have access to the internet and they're able just to look up the answers. I don't feel that truly benefits the learner, because I think they should have to think for themselves. So having a little bit of a guide is fine, like Oversimplified, which is a history YouTube channel. They kind of do like kind of comical summaries of historical events. But it's so simple, but very detailed, and it really makes you actually think, like, all right, so this is what they're saying here. Now, in real perspective, this is what that was. And I have to now think of all these questions, like, all right, so what did this represent?
Yeah. No, that's a good point about how we should think for ourselves. Like, kids are getting lazier, in my opinion, like every day, and I really think that they gotta start doing things for themselves, and not that is just one of the main negativities of using technology, is you don't know what they're doing, like especially during a test or something.
Yeah, and
they could be
kind of to your point, technology, yes, it makes us more productive, but also it takes less time, obviously, because it is more productive. So in that regards, you're taking less time to truly think about it because you have just the answers given to you.
Exactly, and that's another topic that I want to touch base on, is everything nowadays is instant gratification.
All right.
And I really think that like, obviously back then you couldn't watch whatever movie you wanted or listen to any song, and you had to wait for it, and it was worth the wait because it felt so good when you got to just watch that one movie when it came out on VHS or DVD. But nowadays, all these kids, and I really think that's the main reason why many of these kids today are spoiled, is because they always get what they want instantly.
I mean, I understand where you're getting at, because everything's kind of at our fingertips now. Because obviously movies are relatively easy to access. You have obviously all your answers given to you. You don't have to like go to the library typically, unless it's something really specific.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have everything at your fingertips. But at the same time, with your instant gratification, that also kind of applies to social media. I mean, because that's the main thing of social media. Every time you go on after you do a post and you just see the comments and the reposts and the like.
Yeah.
That was why, I don't know if you saw, but Instagram, I think they've talked about rolling this out multiple times. But they were like, we're going to remove so you can see how many likes someone has, but it's not because, like, they would still know how many likes they have, but you wouldn't, because they don't want you to feel bad that you may not be getting as many likes and stuff like that. But kids take that instant gratification and they follow it, and they're like, oh, if people like this, I'm going to keep doing this and this. And it may not be truly what makes them happy, and they almost get addicted to it. So and whenever you don't get as many likes, you wonder, why don't people like me anymore? And that's just not right.
Yeah, and a lot of kids internalize things nowadays, and which causes anxiety and mental problems. But I do think it's a positive thing, but I also think it's a negative thing in terms of, like, YouTube. Well, okay, I guess Instagram, like, all right, so say you have like a YouTube channel, but you post some of your clips, and you also want to get feedback from your Instagram users.
Yeah.
But you can't see if they like that kind of content or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's really good in moderation in the end of it.
Yeah. No, I don't think, like, all the time, like, seeing likes, that definitely can affect someone. But if you're just using it for responsibly, I guess.
Yeah, if you're really using it for feedback on, like, an actual topic or something like that, then it works. But if you're using it straight up for if it shouldn't be the one thing that makes you happy.
Yeah, you need to, like, get off your phone for a little bit if that's really all you have that is making your day.
Yeah, actually, speaking of getting off your phone, okay, so imagine this. So you've been on your phone a lot. I don't know what your average screen time is, but let's say it's like 6 hours. It's a quarter of your day or something. So you're on your phone a lot, which typically a lot of kids are in now. You're on your phone a lot. Okay, so then you get off your phone. Have you ever felt like your phone's vibrating, but then you check and your phone's not even on you, or no notifications came through?
Yeah.
It's called a ghost ping. Well, not a ghost ping. Ghost notification. And so you think you got something, but you didn't. And I kind of wonder if that's part of that dependency on instant gratification, or if it's about, I shouldn't say loneliness, but lack of stuff happening, lack of activity.
Yeah.
Which could be a hybrid of both, but
yeah, no, I really think that we do build a dependency to our phones, and that's like our only, for us at least, that's the only way we know how to communicate with people. Like, that's why so many people have, like, when they go to do presentation, that's why so many people have stage fright. They don't know how to interact with people in real life because they've always hid behind that screen talking to other people.
Yeah, that's why I can't believe I'm saying this, but that's almost why I kind of like, I can fix this so I don't feel bad about saying it. I like when teachers have you do a project where you come up and speak and present your actual project.
Yes.
I was going to say group project, but no, I don't want to say group projects because I have so many issues with those.
Yeah. No, I really think that even though it's very minimal how much we do it, it's still somewhat, you can look back on that and remember, oh, I have had, and like, I have been up there before, and I felt fine when I did it, and and it just kind of builds your confidence, like, remembering that you can just be like, there's nothing to be afraid of, really.
Yeah.
Like,
because that's the thing with these projects, is pretty much if you want a good grade, you're going to have to come up and present. So you do it, but then you also realize everyone else has to do it. And you're like, oh, well, I mean, you're on the spot, yes, for your time, but overall, you're not really on the spot. But at the same time, you still don't want to screw up.
Yeah, and I think the main reason why people say try is because they're afraid of being judged.
Yeah,
But if that's why group presentation or just presentations in general are good, everybody else is doing it, so it's not like they're gonna just point you out of everybody.
yeah,
But no, I definitely think I'm I'm a little bit worried how the next generation is gonna be with technology because I don't know how it's gonna affect them. But I hope that this is the worst it gets. I guess. Is what
yeah.
I'm
I mean, I know we have been talking about and kind of like ranting about how like being addicted to your phone is not good for you, but honestly, in like my case at least, most of my life has something to do with my phone because it's
Yeah.
either managing something or contacting people and all that. So you,
No, and that
but
yeah.
yeah,
No, that's definitely a good reason to have a phone. That's what phone. I don't want to say that's what phones are meant for, but that's responsible use of your phone.
well,
But
yeah,
people,
that's what it's for. It's for productivity and communicating.
but people that just spend every day just on their phone, nothing else to do because that's all they know what to do. That's not healthy at all.
Yeah, I mean, and also I noticed you mentioned earlier how like we hide behind the screen, and that brings
Yeah.
me to something. This was something I researched and I wrote an article on it, and it was called "The Masks We Wear Both Physically and Figuratively." Because obviously, physically, with the COVID pandemic, you wear the masks in public because it's public safety and you want to keep people safe. But at the same time, depending on where you are, like, do you say that when you are around your friends, you talk differently than when you're around, like, your parents, or you're around teachers, or you're around some other...
Well, yeah.
And so I call that a mask because you act differently according to your surrounding and you adapt to the environment you're in. So you turn yourself into yourself in a different perspective because you believe that's where you feel most comfortable in that situation.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I really think like another side about hiding behind your screen, people just like cyberbullying and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You have like
yeah.
You don't know who they are, but they're just gonna be harassing you and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's like kind of scary about that is because so many people can be so hurtful to other people and they're doing it for their own laughter. And really when you just step back and look at all of it, you're really like what is going on? Like what am I doing? Why
what are they
what is that?
That. And I mean, yeah, that is a good point because I mean, cyberbullying, yes, sometimes it literally is just someone behind a screen and they're doing it for their own enjoyment, but at the same time there are some how it's almost an odd form of revenge for like something that's going on in their own lives and they feel that's the way is breaking someone down to raise themselves up.
Exactly, and that's why so many people get bullied in real life and in person because they want the attention to not be on them anymore.
Yeah.
But really in the end, just I guess like younger kids wouldn't understand because they're not fully matured yet, and like I understand that, but like just be adults about the situation.
Honestly, like, in my opinion, I think it's worse when you are younger because you're not at that age of reason. And
well, yeah, exactly, and you don't think about certain situations.
So you just kind of like say like, oh, you start calling someone names and you don't think of the possible consequences of it.
Exactly, yeah.
And as you age, frontal lobe develops, decision making and all that.
And that's why stupid decisions. Like kids just again, you don't think about it in the moment. There's been so many times where I haven't thought of stuff and then I'm like, what was I doing? Like and it's not your fault, I guess, because it's a part of growing up and developing and stuff, but like it's crazy how dumb we are when we're younger.
Yeah,
like I just find it so funny.
You learn from experience and you're gonna make mistakes. Because I hate like I'll say something to someone, and then like I'll walk away, and then like I just do that whole thing. I like go ooh, and like put my hand like kind of curved up against my mouth, and it's like, ooh, did I really just say that? That was super dumb. But then
like,
if I
just
talk about it, it's fixed.
Yeah, no, and like when you just blurt stuff out, cause you, like, without even thinking about it, because you're like, oh, I'm gonna say this, it's gonna be funny, but then right after you're just like, why did I do that?
Yeah, it's just like you try to. It's almost like you kind of want to be a little funny, like the class clown a little bit, and then you say something, and then you're like, okay, sounded funnier in my head, but then it came out so stupid.
Yeah, and it was a little bit too far.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this thing, and what it was like a teacher was just like, all right, so we're going to split up into groups and play a game. And then someone's like, so what happens if we win? And then they quoted lyrics from a musical, and it was like responding to that exact line technically in the musical. And I was just like, that's actually kind of funny. But if you said that in real life, you'd just be like, okay, no one's going to get this. And so it kind of just backfired on you.
Yeah, like you think it's funny in your head, and you think everybody's going to feel the same way that you feel about it, but then you realize, oh wait, no one knows what I'm talking about, and now I just look like stupid.
Yeah, and part of that decision-making process, which develops obviously as you get older, is not only like when you go to make a decision that will affect others, you ask for others' perspectives, but also before you even think about making a decision, you think of the possible outcomes of it, and then think of what the best path is from there.
Yeah, exactly. And
the science, it's going to be great.
The science?
Yeah, it's like I'm talking about like the science of decision making, and it reminds me of the thing I did where like I was literally studying like I think it was like some mental health thing, and like I was describing how each part of the brain had its part, and like it was like the hippocampus and the frontal lobe messes with this and this and this, and I was like, I don't even understand what I'm writing, but it's true.
It just sounds smart.
That's what I like. Is you may not know exactly what you're saying, but you use the right words and you sound intelligent, might get away with something stupid that you truly say.
Everyone thinks you're like Einstein all of a sudden just when you use the word like collateral or like colossal.
Yeah.
The most like simple words that you use in your everyday life can make you sound so smart.
See, that's why like whenever like it will ask you a question, like let's say in science class, they ask you a question, and then they ask for you to explain your answer. And I'm just like, all right, let me do this. And so like I'm like, so based off the evidence provided, we can only assume that this would be the case, though we have to consider the possible outcomes of doing this, this, and this, and these factors, and applying that to our knowledge of everything else. And just like putting like the most amount of detail in there. So it's just like, all right, you're half correct, but you put so many words behind it, you might as well be correct.
Yeah. I have a very interesting segment called What Would Happen? So the first what would happen is, what would happen if the moon suddenly disappeared?
Ooh, there's a scientific answer to this. I'm trying to remember. So obviously like waves I don't think would occur, like ocean waves. I think it's part of the moon's attraction that creates waves, if I remember correctly. Which is why
so the moon is since the moon is like close to us, the pull of its gravity impacts us. So without the moon, the tides would rise and fall like at a slower rate, so the waves would be going like at half speed.
Yeah, and also what it also does is apparently it also moderates our planet's wobble on its axis. That's interesting. I did not. So it kind of stabilizes the Earth.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
And dude, surprisingly, it would make nighttime darker.
Well, yeah, because the moon still does have light. And actually, to that point, that actually, that would be a thing environmentally, because many animals, the moon is essential to like migration and navigation. Yeah. And also for those nighttime creatures, they won't have either the defense mechanisms or their night vision or whatever wouldn't really help them. They would not be in a correct environment.
They wouldn't be able to like hunt or anything.
Actually, I shouldn't say night vision because it would be even darker, so it could still technically work depending on how dark it is, because if it's pitch black, obviously there's no light, so not even night vision would probably be able to help you there.
Yeah.
So if there's no light, then there's no light, nothing to be able to be perceived.
And they just want to be able to get food.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, but like I said, there would be a total, in my opinion, there would be a total ecosystem disaster in which the balances of certain creatures would be completely thrown off.
Yeah.
Because probably predators would be able to eat more prey, and there would be less prey, and that would just throw off all the food chains and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, got another one. What would happen if all of the Earth's insects vanished?
Well, obviously, kind of similar to the last one.
The food chain would just kind of fall
Yeah,
apart.
the food chain would be completely thrown off, and certain species would thrive. And in the end, because of how the food chain works, things go from either and either. Others would adapt over time, I think. I don't know how fast that evolution would kind of occur, but at the same time, in adaptations to say kind of a natural selection, I don't know how fast that would occur in a way that would provide for that new environment. Obviously, because it would affect plants, obviously, because decomposition and the total ecosystem collapse.
Yeah. That kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Where we can't just eat whatever food we want. Well, we could... No. Not necessarily. Because we still have plants.
Well, but that's the thing, though. If plants
get messed up?
would be screwed up, too. Because the plants... Well, because you have the decomposition of animals which fertilize the soil.
Oh, true. Like, isn't... Yeah.
And also because bees and pollination, that would screw up. And especially if the bees die off, which that is a current crisis.
Isn't
even,
that, don't they give us oxygen? Or something?
Bees don't directly give us oxygen. It's the plants through photosynthesis. They take in CO2, they produce O2.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, so if there's no bees, then basically we wouldn't get any oxygen.
Well, yeah, not any new oxygen, because if the bees die, then the plants don't get pollinated, they won't be able to survive, and they will lose their ability. So obviously, I think there are some synthetic ways, obviously, that have been tried already to produce oxygen, but we are not at a stage where,
it's like, if
that were to happen, that I don't think there would be enough air to truly last for overly too long.
Yeah. How long do you think?
That's actually the idea, though. If oxygen stopped being created or transformed, and like there's no way of doing that, no photosynthesis or anything, how long would we have to live?
Yeah, no, like if it just went out for like, I don't know, like I don't want to, like, maybe like 10 minutes.
Yeah, because like you got to think about it. There's 7.8 billion people in the world. I don't even know how much it is, but you have these billions upon billions of people, and they're all breathing. And you have those who are doing higher levels of physical activity, those who are doing lower, and also people who are working in industries that pollute the air that would possibly affect the oxygen levels. So there's a whole bunch of factors into it. But overall, it would just probably mean the collapse of ecosystems and possibly the end of the world overall.
Yeah. Is there like a chance of bees going extinct at all?
Well, I mean, that's been something that's been going on recently. Is that apparently there's been a lot of stuff going on with bees, and there's not as many. I don't think, from what I understand, there is a little bit of a shortage of bees, but it's not at too dangerous of a level yet.
Yeah. Wait, so I know this might be kind of a stupid question, but like, how is there oxygen inside our house?
Because you open a door and air is able to come through, and also because air is so small, it's able to fit through a lot of holes.
Okay. Like,
and because you have ventilation and stuff like that.
True. Yeah, okay.
Like, if your house was obviously airtight, then obviously after you breathe for a while, you would run out of air. But, like, since there is ventilation into a house, you are able to get air into your house.
But if there's just... How long would we survive is the question if our house was airtight.
Well, obviously, how many people are in your house? There would be possibly some factors depending on what's in use in the house that could determine that. But I would say you would definitely have hours. I don't know how many days you would possibly have, though.
Yeah. Like, because what if you have to, like, make your house airtight for, like,
like in a nuclear fallout or something?
Yeah.
I mean, I think radiation has some way of transmitting through solids, so I don't think it would truly help you too much. And also, there's not really a way to fully... I don't think there is a full way to do that to your house, but also filters would help with that possibly, if it's just dirty air.
Yeah.
That's one thing, is it doesn't just need to be air, it has to be clean air too, because that can cause other issues and you'll die anyways.
Could we live off of, like, how long could we live off of not clean air?
It depends what it's
like how, like,
dirtied with, I should say.
What it's contaminated with.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously the air is not like clean oxygen, there's other stuff in
like
there.
Carbon dioxide, yeah.
Yeah, there's carbon, there's all the other gases, nitrogen, and so pretty much it would have to be something that's obviously not good for you. So certain, like, obviously,
and it outweighs the amount of oxygen.
Because if it's like smoke and dirt and all that, obviously it fills up your lungs, and your lungs just aren't able to function correctly since it's not getting the proper oxygen.
Yeah.
And that'll just cause failure throughout the body. So this has indeed been an interesting episode with the topics that we've covered, but now we are going to get into our segment where it's kind of our closing segment where we discuss our key takeaways from today and how maybe we'll take some of the lessons that we learned and apply it into our own lives, or just talk about the knowledge we've gained. So I'll let you start with this.
Well, some main takeaways from this episode, really maybe try to go on my phone less, because that definitely how we discuss the negative effects. But I don't feel well when I'm on my phone a lot. Like, I notice a difference if I'm on it too much, and then that's when I try to go away, but I still kind of go on it a lot. So maybe I'm gonna try taking a couple hours off of my phone and seeing how that really can affect my mental health, which I think it will in a positive way. But I also think maybe trying to help others not be so negative, like maybe try to be more positive, and maybe that can create a chain effect that can make other people be positive in this world. Because it just takes a little bit of kindness to make the world a better place.
So a little bit of optimism and hope and stuff like that.
And just not giving up.
All right, so my takeaway is going to kind of be like, I agree. I'm going to try to cut down on screen time, not screen time like I did in a past attempt at this. And essentially, so take less time on here, and also at the same time, further my understanding of topics, and study more so that I can better provide for my education. Yeah, supplement my education, I should say, to prepare for a future, and that'll hopefully lead to a greater success in that way.
Yeah.
Well, this has been the Eye of Us podcast, episode 2. I hope you have a great day, great night, great afternoon, great weekend, whatever time it is. I hope you have a good one. Thank you all for tuning in.